I'm going to explain why we don't build enough houses in the UK in the time it takes me to build a house in Minecraft. Now, there are 5 big reasons why we don't, and the last one is the most important. The first is planning permission. Now, planning permission is in itself a good thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in that it stops you building like an incinerator next to a primary school. But over time in the UK, it's become less of a sort of fence and more of a total blockage for new developments. Essentially, the system is that if you have a house, it's not necessarily in your direct interest for there to be another house built nearby because it might reduce the value of your property. And that's all fair enough in the individual circumstance. But when you add that all up over time, it kind of creates a situation where nobody is able to build things. And that has all sorts of bad consequences for the whole country, like the housing crisis, which has knock-on effects on young people's ability to basically do anything. The rules are slow, complicated and inconsistent, and councils can sometimes take years to approve even a single new development. So you can't really be surprised if it takes years to approve a house building project. There's a housing crisis. The second big reason is land. Obviously, we've got loads of land, but it's either greenbelt or it's owned by private investors who don't want to sell, or they're using it to speculate. So they're holding onto the land essentially as a sort of stock or an asset that continues to rise in price. And the third is construction, actually just training people to build houses. There are not enough builders in this country. You speak to anyone that builds houses, actually getting the staff, the tradespeople who have the right skills, it's really, really hard. Fourth is the scale of investment, especially in affordable homes. After the Second World War, the Labour government built millions and millions of affordable council houses for people to live in. But some way along the line, Margaret Thatcher, that stopped being possible because they were all sold off and local authorities and the government didn't have the money to invest in them anymore. And so that means that a lot of the houses that are built by private developers for luxury flats because those go for the most money, instead of building affordable homes for ordinary families. And the final point is politics. There's a phrase that you might have heard called NIMBY. It means not in my backyard. And it's essentially people who, in principle, recognise that there's a housing crisis, but they don't actually want a house built near them. And for a long time, politicians have been afraid of upsetting those people. I understand why, in some sense. You're a politician, you want people to vote for you, don't want it to upset them. But unfortunately, by not upsetting those people, NIMBYs, we're upsetting everybody, because an entire generation of people, my generation basically, are unable to get on the housing ladder. And if you don't have a house, you don't have a secure, safe, warm, affordable home, pretty much everything else in your life becomes really, really difficult. But the good news is that for the first time in a very long time, Britain has a government that is actually trying to change that. We're introducing a planning bill to make it much easier to get planning permission for good quality homes. We're also investing in building homes. The government's target is to build an extra 1.5 million houses by the time of the next election. That's 1.5 million families that have got a good roof over their head that they might not otherwise have had. In Minecraft, it takes a few minutes to build a home, but in Britain, it can take decades to get on the housing ladder. I'm determined to use my position as an MP to help change that.